What is the tightest advice you've ever gotten? In 7th grade I was prescribed Adderall and my doctor encouraged me to experiment with the dosage. I learned from my experimenting that 60 milligrams of Adderall will keep me awake for about 40 hours straight. In the military. In Iraq. The sweat is irritating, and to fix that, my friend says you just stop drinking water. I was dumbfounded. Just have a baby. I had to miss some high school orchestra rehearsals because I had gotten a job performing for a musical. My conductor said taking gigs is not a good way to start your career in music. Yeah. Try again. Bub. I was buying apples. Honeycrisp. And a lady said if you like those you should try Empires. Empires are soft. Tasteless. Grainy excuses for apples. Dad, there's no future in those bloody computers, son. 35 years ago. Not me. But my old co-worker was talking to a client and she was complaining that a 12-year-old girl sent her 13-year-old son nudes. Old co-worker suggested she send them to her phone. Then to her parents. I suggested that perhaps distributing child pornography was in fact not a good idea. Sell your cable TV stock in 1978. Treat them mean. Keep them keen. A current girlfriend of 9 years, and the girl I was pursuing when my friend gave me the above advice, has said that if I had started being an arrogant dick towards her, she would have just stopped bothering to see me. What? You mean people don't enjoy spending time with rude, hurtful, selfish people? Shocking. My mom said if someone wanted to fight me at school, I should just let them kick my ass because they would get in trouble and I wouldn't. Even the assistant principal thought this was a terrible idea. Edit. This was in 1996 to 1997, so a little before zero tolerance. But still a stupid idea. Completely the opposite. If you get in a fight at school, at least nowadays, you're already getting in trouble. You should bear up because fighting back or not you're both in trouble. Stir but before oral to last longer. Thanks mate, I was on a time crunch and had to finish myself. Wow, Reddit gold. Hope my mom doesn't see this. Thank you. No need for a lock. Get an axe and strap it to your bike. Nobody wants to mess with someone who has an axe. So nobody will try to steal your bike. I swear I didn't make this up. The guy who said it seemed more than a little drunk though. But if the axe is on your bike, you don't have an axe. And if you're lucky enough to catch the person stealing your bike, they now also have your axe. Yeah, no. Son. Being with a woman is a lot like eating at a fancy restaurant. If you order the lasagna, you should eat the lasagna. That's the entree you picked. And you owe it to the lasagna to clean your plate. But as long as you're going to clean your plate, it's okay to try a bite of other foods here and there. That's not neglecting your lasagna. It's just making sure that lasagna is really as good as you think it is. And if you like a different dish more, it's better to find out now, before you're full. This said while encouraging me to cheat on my girlfriend while we were on a family vacation. That I better catch me a man because I was getting old. Semicolon. I was 19 and at the wedding of a 20 and 21-year-old. There wasn't even alcohol because majority of the guests were underage. I'm no longer friends with those people for many reasons, not the ones that got married. They moved and we lost touch. But the ones telling me to catch a man still live in the same city and we don't speak. If I married the guy I was dating at 19/20, I would be a very bitter, angry person. Some people find the person they were meant to be with at a young age. I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't succumb to the pressure just because everyone else around me thought that they had. I met my husband when I was 25 and everything's been going good. I made the right decision. Even 25 is young these days. 30 is the new 25. Edit. Thanks for all the love. There's a lot of us post 30 that are looking and just settling now. It's not even an issue these days. Close bracket. Second edit. That's it. Going streaking through the quads. Why are you sad? My sister's advice to me. If you're ever our pet, just try to relax and enjoy it until it's over. I've never been in that situation, thankfully, but I really would hate to think that other people have actually taken that advice. I came here for this one. From an older brother's friend. I was 12 and told my dad the kid didn't do anything to me but made me feel very uncomfortable. I opened up to my parents that I might have been molested when I was 6 years old. They told me it's not that big of a deal and that it happened to every girl, so I should get over it. Sadly, I didn't get over and went to find advice elsewhere. People won't judge you if you tell the truth. Why? Was told I should practice drinking and driving so I could figure out exactly how much I can drink and still be able to drive safely. I was told to rent an apartment I could barely afford when I started my first job in Los Angeles. Let me stress that this is a terrible idea. Only rent what you know you can afford for as long as you're bound to the lease. It can ruin you to live in a major city without a job and leased into something you can't support. Semicolon. Also, if I rented higher, I couldn't have afforded furniture. Or any nights out with friends. Spend conservatively. Blood is thicker than water. Family is forever. Narcissistic bull. Family is the people who are there for you. They don't need to be blood. And you don't need to keep people in your life who give nothing back to the relationship. I was a teen dad supporting a stay-at-home wife and kid and was going to engineering school at the same time. I kept getting advice from adults that I should quit school. Pick a safe job and work my way up. Why work a part-time, near minimum wage job or internship when I could quit and work full-time as landscaper or utility worker and make $3 for an hour more? That was 20 years ago. Today I probably make 3 or 4 times what a landscaping or utility career would have yielded. And I am in a career that I love. It's taken me all over the world and opened some amazing opportunities. Broke my arm in the 4th grade. The teacher's advice was to get a drink of water as the only form of medical attention until I finally convinced them to call my parents. It didn't fix my broken arm. Our relationships told me to dump my girlfriend when she tested positive for Hodgkin's lymphoma right after I met her 3 years ago. Now we're engaged and she's been cancer free for 2 years. Our relationships told me. Found the problem. When I was diagnosed with aggressive cancer. Chemo is poison. Don't let those doctors kill you. They just want to make a profit. If you fast and drink lemon water, your body will heal itself. Literally the worst advice. I would be dead right now. You should work in sales. Worked in sales for 2 years. It was easily the worst 2 years of my life. Trust me. You should not work in sales. I was getting a hard time in school from other kids. The advice I received was just ignore them. Anyone who's being bullied will tell you that simply ignoring it is not possible because bullies don't allow you to ignore them. Have a baby together. You will have a family and learn to love each other. Great, now we hate each other and have a kid. I went to the dentist once because my wisdom tooth was growing in sideways and cutting my gum and it was swelling up and really painful. The entire time he's looking at my teeth, he's trying to convince me to get braces for one crooked tooth I have in the front. And I keep asking him what to do about my swollen gum and he told me to just brush your teeth harder. Also, just think more positive. You don't need to move away and go to college, just stay here with me and I can get you a job down at the shop. Coming from my dad, who is a mechanic and lives in a small town with a population of sub 4,000. Who has been making just above minimum wage all his life. To get a degree to go into newspaper journalism because it's what I wanted to do and I was good at it. The career field started imploding within a year of my graduation. And then the recession decimated it. I made $28,000 or less for the first 10 years. I'm still paying off my college debts. Nothing compares to getting death threats from both sides of the same political articles while making 2 roommates level salary. Driving 20-year-old cars and eating beans and rice. Borrow as much as you need for college. Don't worry about how you'll pay it back. Just have fun. Really? Really stupid. I went to a private college that cost over $100k. I owed $46k in student loans when I graduated. A $600 a month minimum payment on an entry-level salary really limits your options post-school. During an anxiety attack. Just don't think about it. Oh. Okay. Phew. I can't believe I didn't think of that. In my junior year of college, my advisor advised that I drop out and focus on raising my baby that was on the way. I told one of my teachers what she said and he said, "What? No. That's stupid. I'm your advisor now. Graduated on time. Raised son. It all worked out. You shouldn't pursue a career in accounting because there isn't a need for them. You'll be better off in an engineering field because I want only the best for my daughter. Her dad told me that. We broke up. Edit. Sorry. Didn't realize this would take off. We didn't break up because of the dad's advice. It was completely unrelated. Thanks for the support." Sometimes having a kid is the best way to become an adult. Friend of a friend who got knocked up at 20. Dropped out of college. And is going nowhere in life with kid number 2 on the way. But does she have a successful essential oils squad full of other entrepreneur boss babes? She's a prime candidate for that crowd. Just be yourself. No. If you are terrible. If you are obnoxious. Really. If you're any human who doesn't consider the need for inhibition. Then you turn out to be an asshole. Do these drugs. It will level out your drunkenness. Till a lot of you folks have used cocaine. Thanks for the inbox full of crazy stories. Enjoyed reading them. My therapist said I should continue my binge drinking on the weekends if it helps me sleep. Also recommended ZZ's Quill as a remedy on nights that I have trouble sleeping. Turns out the drinking was eyeing up my sleep schedule. I've been sober for over a month and I'm sleeping better than ever. I went to my doctor for a sort of checkup after having been prescribed antidepressants. The doctor I saw the second time told me to smile more and that way I wouldn't need to come to the doctor for something so trivial. Thanks Wad. When I was 19, this older man co-worker asked me, I'm a guy, if I had any kids and I said no. He then asked at what age did I think I would want to have kids and I said I don't know. Maybe late 20s early 30s. He said no way that I should get married and have kids now because if I have them late, I would be too old when they grow up to be around their 20s. I walked away thinking that encouraging a 19-year-old kid with a crappy job and crap pay to have kids is horrible advice. You're wasting money snorting heroin. You should inject it instead. Edit. Holy gold. Thank you to whomever. Help is available to anyone needing help with addiction issues. Ask for help. As hard as it might seem. Life gets better. That I can promise. That might be on you. M8. Edit. When I was broke and halfway through college, my mom said, "Hey, I guess you have to drop out and give up. That's life. Honey." Thank God I didn't listen to her tired advice and pushed through. I now have my degree and am financially stable. You'll understand when you're older. If you stay with her, you'll never forgive yourself when you're older for not having the experience with other women. I was 18 at the time with a 2-year relationship. It's been 10 years with her and everyone who gave me that advice is either divorced, bitter or running around trying to tie down anyone they can. Good things come to those who wait. The worst advice you could ever give someone. It should be good things come to those who are patient. Waiting and being patient are not the same thing. High school guidance counselor. Pick a new career. You'll never make it in medicine. Currently a physician at a very respected hospital in the US. Before I got married, my parents felt compelled to impart all sorts of unsolicited advice as though we were children embarking on our first step into adulthood. I was 35. My husband was 32. We'd been living together for 6 years. And we'd had about 4 disagreements in that time. So we were reasonably confident in our choices. My parents' brilliant advice was that we needed to decide now who is in charge in our relationship because otherwise we'll spend all our time fighting. They said both of their parents had that problem. So they just decided to do things right and make sure my father was in charge. So they never fought. The amount of selective memory and out bull contained within those statements still boggles my mind. It. Gold. Just for bitching about my parents? Thank you. But really, the amount of support from all of you is really touching. Thank you very much. When I was really young, about 8 or 9, I was stung by a bee. I'd been stung before with no problems. So we didn't think anything of it. A little while after I'd gotten over the pain and had stopped crying, I told my mom I don't feel well. She told me to go and make a poop. Turns out I was suddenly severely allergic to bee stings and I was going into anaphylactic shock. Lem tell ya. The right person will like you for who you are. Bull. I was a wild animal in my 20s. I met my wife at 30. She helped me overcome some things and I credit the success I achieved by my mid-40s to her. My point is that advice is saying you don't need to change. Bull. We all have, we can improve. Wise words from you and Hollerika. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony here. Walk out and put that double-barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house. You can jump that far. If you believe in yourself. My mom told me I should marry someone who loves me more than I love them. So I'd always have the power in the relationship. Didn't listen. Can't feel anything? Take another pill. Don't listen to the warnings of your family and friends. They're just jealous and want to break us up. Drop everything and come live with me. This is what love is. The opening title to the worst year of my life. Not me, but my friend's mom consistently gives her really terrible advice. Her dad is the high school football coach. And when went to that high school, a rumor circulated that she slept with the whole football team. She had never even kissed anyone yet at the time. This devastated her because the whole school called her horrible names and made fun of her. Her mom told her she needed to lose her virginity to a specific kid on the hockey team whose mother she was friends with. She was positive this would work because the hockey team and the football team had a really intense rivalry. And nobody would believe that someone would just switch sides like that. Thus dispelling the original rumor. She went so far as to give my friend advice on how to get in bed with this kid and how she could help arrange it so that her dad wasn't home while they were doing it. My mom and I had to gently convince my friend that this was nuts and most moms don't give advice like that. Don't marry him. He only wants to marry you to become a citizen. He doesn't really love you. My husband is from Kenya and my mother did everything she could to stop me from marrying him. Luckily I did not take her advice. It's 4 years later and I'm happily married to the love of my life. My mom still isn't a fan of him, but she has her own issues. My other family members love him, so everything worked out great. You know, you really shouldn't vaccinate your kid. Nah man. My daughter is cool. She can live. You'll find someone. Don't worry about it. No. Men can't afford to not worry about it. Romance doesn't just happen for us in 99% of cases. It's something we are expected to go out and hunt down like we're hunter-gatherers trying to bring down a freaking wildebeest. There's planning and effort involved if you want to have even a hope of it. Women get to have romance just happen. I never will. Or at least I cannot rely on it at all. And it took me like 15-20 wasted years to learn that. Don't be a passenger in your love life. Guys. Went to the school counselor in high school bullying and asked for advice on my abusive relationship. I kid you not, the only thing she said was then leave like it's that easy and sent me out of her office. Still kinda bitter at how quickly she brushed me off. If the edible doesn't hit you within 20 minutes, take another one. Happy wife. Happy life. It should be happy spouse. Happy house. Both count. If you pray enough, God will make your fallopian tube grow back. A friend told me this 2 days after I got home from the hospital where I had to have my right fallopian tube removed after it burst when I had an ectopic pregnancy. I was already horribly depressed after losing a much wanted pregnancy and being told that I was possibly infertile due to all the scar tissue. And then she decided to start spouting off crazy like that. She also said if I had gone to church more the baby would have been fine. I was so shocked I could hardly speak. But luckily my husband had no such problem. He kicked her out, and when she tried to refuse, he tossed her purse out the front door and locked it behind her when she went to get it. I haven't heard from her since, thank God. Don't try to work for that guy. He's a troublemaker in the industry. My instructor, when I told him I wanted to intern for a guy I eventually have worked with for 13 years. Sometimes you want to work with someone who is a little bombastic, because they have passion for their industry. Obligatory not me, but on an episode of True Life. I'm an alcoholic. One girl said she was opening up credit card and her friend asked why. The response: I maxed out another one and need a new card to pay it off. So where do we even begin with that statement? My dad. If you want a man, you have to show some skin. No one ever caught a fish without using good bait. Also my dad. If women get our peg because they dress like S, they had it coming. Thanks dad. When I was around 12 we had my grandparents come to stay for Christmas. One morning I was up before everyone else and my granddad comes down the stairs, holding his back, and you could tell he had some aches and pains in his bones. He's coming down the stairs pretty slowly. Once he reaches the bottom I say, "Morning granddad." And he looks at me and says, "Don't get old. Die young." He then goes to walk away but stops and says, "Choose a job you love, and you will never have to work a day in your life. Or you'll end up hating what you used to love." As I was struggling with depression and feeling suicidal. Just choose to be happy. This was years ago. Happy wife. Happy life. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Just the whole sacrifice your happiness for her if you want to be happy yourself. It fulfills you. Apostrophe. Bull. You are the most important person in your life. Nothing happens without you. Your happiness is paramount. Be happy and let others bask in your happiness. From a doctor at Planned Parenthood: you don't need a test for herpes. Everyone has herpes. I heard that too. From my OBGYN. You don't even test for it unless someone has open sores. 80% of the tests are positive, but a positive result doesn't mean you'll ever have an outbreak. My dad's attempt at girl advice when I was younger and didn't have any confidence talking to girls. Just go up to them and say hi. The worst she can do is slap you and scream "Ape." He was not a good father. Sleep when the baby sleeps. Sure. Great. I'll cook when she cooks and clean when she cleans and shower when she showers. Worst advice ever. Don't go to bed mad at each other. Sometimes you need a little space and some sleep to regain the brain power needed to resolve a conflict with us. So just don't let feelings fester into resentment.